Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Oh, I can hear myself coming back at myself. Okay, so where are we? We are here with Bruce and Manu from Involi, and of course Nicola's there as well. Not a lot has happened in the world this week, has it really? But I want to kick off a couple of things I did want to talk about. The first of all was the drone registration consultation that is occurring in the UK, and something that made me laugh was one of the a chap from the Civil Aviation Authority popped up on the British Model Flying Association page on Facebook, introduced himself and said, "Here is our consultation document. We'd love to work with you, good people." And it was promptly fired at from multiple angles from the members, and the post was removed. He was sent packing, and the general tone was, and I was quite impressed. The general tone was, "I tell you what, we're going to let the BMFA talk for us. We're not going to all come up with our own answers and muddy the waters." I don't know, Bruce, have you seen the questions at all?
No, I haven't seen them yet, actually. So I will go and have a look straight after this informative webcast and see what it says. But I expect that, given it's come from a government department, it will be leading and misleading at the same time.
Well, yeah, it's very few questions, really. Is morning Oz by drone? Very few questions indeed. But there are things like I did it, and I'm surprised how quickly it was over. But it was things like. You know, do you because I went down the pathway of I'm overseas, so it said, when I visit England, do I make myself aware of regulations? Well, yes, I do. I kind of know them. And then if somebody else turns up at the flying field, do I let them have? This is what I thought was interesting. Do I let them have a go on the sticks of my equipment? And if I do, how have I trained them? I thought that was very interesting. It's what have I told them, and what do I let them do? So I wonder where do you reckon they're going to snag us there, Bruce? Going down that sort of line.
Oh, I've got no idea. Yeah, I don't know how these people think anymore. But yeah, obviously they want to create an all-encompassing net and get as many people in that net as possible. I had similar discussions with CAA here about registration, but at least they acknowledge that this really hasn't done anything anywhere in the world. It's an exercise in futility. It imposes costs that needn't be imposed. And if you make the registration terms too draconian, then you simply miss the people you're trying to catch. Those people on the fringe, they'll say, "I'm not going to bother with this." And therefore you lose them completely. You can't even have an informal dialogue, because then they don't want to be seen, because they know they're in trouble if they haven't registered. So you create a division rather than a connection. And that's really important. I don't think that many of the aviation authorities have thought that through, but to their credit, in New Zealand, CAA seem to have acknowledged that and pulling in the right direction. But again, it's a political thing. You've got you've got Department of Transport, you've got politicians, you've got aviation industries all pulling the other way. So what do you do?
Yeah, and you were with lots of buffering. G'day, Quadcam. Lots of buffering, apparently. I'm blaming Australia for that. Must be Australia. But you were with your regulator. That's why you weren't with us last week. You were with your regulator doing your thing. And I assume we've got a video, or expecting a video from you. Great jet videos. Love the jet videos. Love the one you just posted tonight as well. You must be spending a lot of time lying down.
Yes. Well, falling over really is more like it.
Oh, fair enough. Lots of great shots.
I'm old, you know.
Yeah, well, we know that. I don't want to point it out, but you know, yeah, we know that. Even at 240p, it's slow or buffering, says Oz by drone. Sorry about that. Don't know what I can do. Next thing I wanted to mention. So I'll put the link in the comments below. Have a look at those questions, dear viewer, and see what you make of them. And perhaps we'll convene again next week and discuss what we think the implications of those questions might be. There are happening road shows in the UK if you want to go along, and I can imagine they're going to be fairly lively events, I say, judging from the BMFA comments I saw. Oh, g'day, it's Louis. Oh, we can stop talking about him now. G'day, Louis. How you doing, mate?
How's everyone?
Very good, thanks, mate.
Hey. Sorry, I was late. I was trying to sort out the mess of my workbench because I was frightened because I saw Bruce's one of Bruce's latest videos. Because if more videos, I don't know how he does it, because he manages to do more videos than I have time to see his videos, and I see them at 1.5 speed. So come on, he has a machine.
I still don't.
I'm going to fix you, Louis. I'm going to record them at 1.5 times slower or faster, so that they can play as normal play when you play them at 1.5 times.
Don't worry, I can download them and play them at 5 times if it's like.
Oh, I need to live life at 0.5. I don't understand this living life at 1.5 that people are doing these days. It's not for me. Not for me, that sort of thing. We're just talking about UK race, but we'll drop on to Operation Zenith, which is happening tomorrow in Manchester in the UK. That's going to be some BVLOS flying. In fact, I'm going to get the scenarios up here. All happening in and around and on the airfield at Manchester. So we have to wish Altitude Angel good luck with that. We have to wish the guys from UAvionics, who are also a big part of that, and Nats and everyone else, the best of luck. And I think I might try and do a live stream tomorrow, see what we can see on ADSB. I think it's about 1300 to 1400 local UK time tomorrow from the invite. So we'll have a go at that there. And then the last one before we go on to the next, which we can probably discuss, is the Phantom pilot in the UK that flew underneath the police helicopter. What should...
That's a smart thing to do. Come on. At least he didn't fly over the helicopter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Okay, but they got him for BVLOS at the end of the day. Okay, a bit of careless and reckless, but it was BVLOS they got him for. They didn't find him much, did they? Let me get the number. Wasn't it 240 quid and something like that? Oh no, £184 with 280 costs, and they confiscated his Phantom. And I thought what was interesting was that they followed him back. The search was over. They watched him land, and he'd hidden the thing above the bath. That was.
I read that. Come on, he knew he was wrong. Bad luck, and the slap. It's not even a slap on the wrist, so it's not a deterrent.
So doesn't this prove that you don't need to register drones? They found this guy, it wasn't registered, they still found him, they still prosecuted him. Why register?
That's true, yes. Yes.
Oh my God, come on, Bruce. If he was registered, it would be much easier. They would only have followed him and located him and do about the same, but at least he was registered.
But if he was registered, imagine what would happen. They would then, if they hadn't tracked it back to his house, they would have then rolled everyone who had a registered drone out of bed at 2 in the morning and said, show us your drone. Where were you flying 5 minutes ago? So, yeah, that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, that was
show me the hot motors. Your motors on the drone must be warm still.
Well, that was going to be my point. If there was registration, would they have not bothered following him? And would they have, as you say, knocked on every door of everyone registered within a radius of X of there?
And if it's a Phantom, it's 5 kilometers away. So lots of people to get up out of bed at 2 a.m.
Well, yes, absolutely. But the BVLOS bit they got him for, which says, I mean, the industry hasn't made much of this really, but he was flying half a mile. I don't know what's half a mile in meters. I should have looked that up before I said that.
800 meters.
It's 800 meters. Well,
yeah.
That's, oh, look, I've gone blurred. I've gone blurred because of my lack of mass.
No. Look at that. You're blurred because you're at 900 meters.
But I would have simply said that my drone was observed flying under the helicopter. It was being observed. There was an observer. It wasn't beyond visual line of sight anymore. Someone was looking at it.
Well, yes, I see where you're going with that. But that's defined, and for a long time the UK has said 500 meters is a definition of BVLOS, even if it's a bit of a loose definition. But that has nailed it now. Should anyone else?
Then why use the term BVLOS? Why not say 500 meters? Because if you're flying a really small, like one of those tiny little indoor quadcopters, and you go to 100 meters, it's beyond your visual line of sight. You can't see it anymore. It's too small. But if you're flying say a 40% scale, at night.
It was at night, so can you see?
You could have seen the lights.
you see the lights.
Yeah,
It might be a UFO.
I think
Well,
he's a very
yeah.
poor lawyer.
The light, I don't think he got to a lawyer. The lights thing is a bit tenuous, I always think, having big bright lights on it. Just because you can see the occasional flash at 2 or 3 miles doesn't mean you're actually in control and able to control your device. It's yeah, I don't know.
Actually, you'd be surprised how well you're able to control a device by just seeing a speck in the sky.
That could be true for you, but not for me.
Come on. You want to see my drones at 100 meters high? You cannot see the damn lights.
Well, we're not talking. Well, hold on. Lights, like the LEDs that are on the bottom of these of the copter arms, should be visible at over 100 meters at night.
Want me to send you the pictures? Not even on the pictures.
Well, but 800 meters, 800 meters, and through the garden shed and all that. If you looked at this, if you looked at the garden, it was putting it back in. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think we can certainly all agree that it was. I think it was a pretty dumb thing he was doing, going to have a look at a police helicopter. But of course, the mainstream press pulled it out as an imminent disaster, and they used that. I believe, was it a tail rotor failure?
The stadium crash.
The stadium crash.
Or this could have been caused by a drone. Oh, really, people. Yeah, I noticed that, first of all, I said, if a drone hits an aircraft, people will die. Drone hit an aircraft, nobody died. Oh, if a drone hits a helicopter, people will die. Drone hits a helicopter, nobody dies. But if a drone hits the tail rotor of a helicopter, people will die. Drone hits the tail rotor of a helicopter, nobody dies. There's a theme here. I mean, they keep saying these things are going to happen, and when they do happen, the promises are never, well, the threats are never fulfilled. And yes, it could happen, but I think we've established that the risk is now way, check my notes, way less than has ever been suggested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's our recurrent theme, isn't it? And there's been some more terrible general aviation accidents this side in the last week. So the numbers are racking up for manned aviation yet again.
They've been racking up for years, so really,
yeah, absolutely,
not really a race there.
It's not a race, is it? But you know,
they haven't beaten hands down.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of catching up to do, haven't we, really, if we are as an industry to catch up. Let's hope we never do. All right, so that was that one parked. So now I will introduce Manu from Involi. Good day to you, Manu. You've been politely waiting there in our Shades of Beard competition this evening. 50 Shades of Beards. I met Manu at the Lake Victoria Challenge, and he's with Involi. And in fact, his job in life, I suppose, is to make sure our paths don't connect with aeroplanes, or at least keep everybody aware of where each other are.
Exactly.
But can't we all do just the same thing with our own ADS-B receivers and our own chains? What makes you so special, and what exactly do you provide, Manu?
Yeah. So to come back to the example of before of the helicopter and the drone, the idea is that we believe that we can't really deconflict drones and air traffic just by using our eyes. The idea is that all the parallax thing and the distances is very tricky, especially if you are not an RC pilot, you are just a random guy that just bought a DJI drones, etc. Our idea is really to have the air traffic shown directly into the drone controller, so into the interface that you use to control the drone. And to do so, we are doing the following. We are installing our devices a little bit everywhere for the moment in Switzerland. And the difference from what other people are doing is that it doesn't have just ADS-B, but it has also Mode S, Mode AC, and FLARM detection. Basically, the idea that we have is if an airplane or an helicopter is emitting a signal, we want to detect him independently by the technology that he is using in order to have this very complete picture of the sky. That's the idea.
Well, that's the idea. Have you got it working? Are people using it?
Yeah, so for the moment, of course, we are just in Switzerland. We installed 13 of our devices all around, and we did a proof of concept together with Swisscom, which is the telecommunication operator here. And for the part of using it, we use it in Tanzania. We install our devices there for the competition. Yeah, we did our first BVLOS flight with Wingtra drones, specifically in Tanzania, over the lake.
Yeah, now and it was a compelling demonstration because you did it. You didn't overstate what you were going to achieve, but you didn't. What you did was you set the chap that works out with you onto a boat that she just about fell off onto other things and walked around.
Yes.
You didn't do it. You sent your man up. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. It was
Tristan.
Yeah, it was Tristan that did the hard work and position the receivers, but it worked, and that's an impressive thing. Many people when you go to events and things like that, and I suppose that's really what impressed me about Tanzania more than anything else was everybody that went there said they didn't overstate what they were going to do, but everybody's devices worked and did what they said on the tin, and I think it might set a standard for drone events moving forward, where manufacturers and people do have to actually demonstrate their wares. Don't just make it up. Don't just put it on a stand and say, "Oh, it's the best in the world." Look, it's bigger, higher, faster, further, without actually flying it. So that was very interesting.
Thanks.
So you achieved that. That was great. But how on earth it going to scale, and why, as an industry, are we not excited about this? Why? I don't know. Maybe the others can tell me I'm wrong, but I have a feeling we're not very excited about the idea of knowing where other traffic is.
You are not excited about that? I am very excited about that, actually. I mean, I think that until today, we are very good in knowing when airplanes are flying at very high altitude or close to controlled airspace. We talked with several aviation authorities around the world, and they told us that air traffic data at low altitude, that is really what we want to provide. It's a treasure. There are no statistics in Gulf airspace of how helicopters, airplanes use it, which are the riskiest parts, etc. So this is not only interesting for the drone world, really to cope with this new case of business which is coming, but also for just the safety of everybody, actually.
Well, I suppose I didn't put that very well. I just don't see people clamoring for it in the industry, or understanding why it might be useful to see stuff and get out of the way. I don't know. Have any of the other chaps got an opinion, or am I just ranting again?
Yes, we've got an opinion. Don't worry. I think it's. I don't care where other aircraft are. I just think they need to know where I am so they can get out of my damn way when I'm flying. But it is an issue. But again, it boils down to this. You're saying about low altitude stuff. Well, there shouldn't be manned aircraft at low altitude. Get them up into where they can be tracked easily, and just leave the low altitude stuff for the unmanned aircraft. I think we've been saying that that's our sort of our mantra for years, isn't it, Gary?
Hang on. Hang on. It goes hashtag no GA.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. The idea of Involi is to control the traffic below the 500 feet, so that we can have the drone delivery safe without all the drones from Amazon colliding in to carry out your Amazon Super Prime packages.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's the idea. Then to reply to what Bruce was saying before, unfortunately, there are several cases where helicopters are flying close to drones at very low altitude. And what we are seeing here in Switzerland, we have, for example, drone delivery between hospitals, which is happening in certain areas, or other kind of drone delivery where anyway you have helicopters that can land in the very same area where the drone is taking off, etc. And for this reason, helicopter, especially for emergency reason, is not something that you can predict with a flight plan, etc. They have tendency to come in the middle of operation, Murphy law. And with our system, the idea would be really to be able to see this helicopter incoming even 10 or 20 kilometers before it will actually approach the area.
And then you feed in mitigation, don't you? You can feed in avoidance to the drone.
Exactly. Really, for us,
so
the
this
idea
is a
would
UTM
be,
then. This is basically UTM.
I don't I don't market Involi as UTM. For me, we are just an air traffic data provider. Our idea is really that once you have the authorization to fly, so what the UTM does, while you're flying, you need our data in order to deconflict any possible disaster, let's say. That's the thing.
So, but you're just providing that to the drone operator. That does not cover the autonomous drones, because, for instance, on Ardu pilots, on the recent competition in Australia, Tridge managed to get the drone replanning its routes depending on the traffic management that he was receiving. So he could do the UTM by itself. Do you also provide that data to? Is it eatable by a flight controller, say by Mavlink or some other protocol?
So basically today our product is just a feed of air traffic data. So forget about the tower installed everywhere. The final user will never see that. And then once you have this feed, you can use it for in any possible way. Today, I think the legal operation allow you to have this data given to a drone operator. But of course, in the future, I would love that this data is given directly to an autopilot, wherever it is, in order to have the drone deconflict himself automatically using a collision avoidance algorithm or something like that.
You can already do this. Sorry, Bruce. You can already do that by providing a Mavlink stream to a drone. So it should not be very hard to do.
No, I don't think so. We say several times that what we are doing is detect and avoid, basically. And the avoid part is pretty easy because it's actually just an algorithm, but the detect part is difficult. And the idea is that we take care of the detect part for every possible drone from the ground using good antennas and good hardware, etc.
So this is a bit like, has a very from like Flight Radar 24, and I'm part of the GliderNet network. I have a receiver on my workshop, and so it's basically the same sort of thing, except they accumulate a lot of data over a lot of area and can give you a much greater radius of operation, and therefore you can see further ahead in terms of flight movements. So how does your system distinguish itself from those?
Yeah, so the idea would be that compared to them, we always own the infrastructure, so we can always monitor it. And the other thing is that we don't rely to aviation lovers to install our hardware. We install it over telecommunication infrastructure. The nice thing of telecommunication infrastructure is that they are always placed in areas where the line of sight is very big, so we have a good coverage. And this is why here in Switzerland we work a lot with Swisscom, which is the telecommunication provider for the country.
Yeah, I think I wrote something about that this week. In that here we've been having rolling power cuts. We have 11 power stations have gone down in South Africa. We're having rolling power cuts, and we have citizen-based receivers that are along a 500-kilometer route. And at the moment, I don't know which ones will be working and which ones won't in a week. So our coverage has gone downhill, and then when you, I think what this is. This sort of a thing that is highlighting, and good day to John Gustafson, who's had a helicopter fly 50 feet above a known campus drone training ground while he was conducting a LiDAR flight. And he says a manned pilots will always claim superiority of the air, so it's going to take a long time. No, it won't. No, there's more of those. We'll just bully them out of the way. But it's going to end up being something like that when more money gets happening in that first 500 feet. Something like that will happen. But what was I going to say? I was going to say, so yeah, the difference, what is a UTM? It's going to come down into really, is the UTM going to be the layer that provides your flight permission with your local air traffic authority? Then Involi or somebody else is another layer which provides a deconfliction, or are those UTMs going to have it all? I mean, there were people claiming that single receivers could do all the work of multiple receivers in Tanzania, and that is just nonsense. That cannot work. You cannot. It's simple radio physics. You cannot decode mode S traffic with a single receiver. It is not possible. Well, I don't know. Bruce might disagree with me, but I don't think you can. So it's another layer, and we're going to see all sorts of nuanced stuff now. But I think you, Manu, I think you are the first company to stand up to do this sort of thing in our space.
Yes, absolutely. That's true. Yeah, we are the first, and probably the only one for the moment. We will see.
But surely the other UTMs have got to stand something up because the ownership, and then not just the ownership of the data, it's the checking of the data will be very important.
Yes,
and that's what we couldn't necessarily do with our citizen network.
My question is, obviously this has to be paid for. Where does the money come from?
That's the question that everybody has at a certain point. So the thing for me is that this will be different depending country by country, depending on how the laws are applied to the drone business there, and then we will see. For me today, that's not the problem. For me, the problem is developing a technology that makes sense for the drones, for the drone operator, and then after we assess that this is useful and needed, then we will see where are the money. Okay. That's our approach.
Oh, I'm sure. I thought
Jerry driven by engineers,
Jerry
not marketers.
Jerry Maguire is not very happy because he also always says, "Where is the money? Show me the money." So perhaps you're planning on getting a cut on a national registry or something like that.
No, I don't know what you're talking about there. Actually, to be really sincere, but really for me,
if a country has a paid registration for a user, getting a percentage of that.
That's a possibility. I mean, one idea could be, look, as a drone operator myself, I don't really like the concept that drone operator have to pay for this system. For me, ideally, it should be a government that have to pay for a system like ours. That's my humble point of view. Then the market will decide first if our technology makes sense for drone operators, and then who is going to pay.
Okay. So, and who are your biggest competitors on this space?
The ICE today. So all the deconfliction are supposed to be done by ICE. All the BVLOS thing that we are doing here in Switzerland at the end of the day are done in a certain context where all the safety are respected. So I don't know. I don't see much of the competition today. Actually, no. Look, tomorrow, what is going to happen in London? So this Zenith, Operation Zenith, that I love the name, by the way. It's a kind of 007 thing. So love it. You can do drone operation just in controlled airspace today, because it's only there where you have a huge secondary radar that allow you to see all the MODES air traffic. So, you know, that's our competition today, kind of the big radars which are already installed. What we've tried to do is just enlarge the view of those infrastructure to other areas where there are helicopters or airplanes flying at low altitude, but there is not controlled airspace.
Yeah, I think I have heard it said that is one of the sort of, yes, it's in controlled airspace and by the airport, but then by definition it's protected tomorrow because it's everything is known that's happening in there. But exactly, but it's I suppose it's the, and at the end of the day, if you heat map like you know, I did a heat map of where all the Part 107 pilots were registered in America, and a funny old thing, it was all the big cities, you know, and it's the same as where are all the use cases for where a great deal of use cases commercial droning. Well, the cities and where people live. So if it gets rid of that bogeyman a little bit, you know, if people are make people a little bit happier, then it'll be a good thing. But we're definitely moving into a BVLOS world, so we are going to need better situational awareness as an industry, and yes. Quite how that happens, I don't know. But all right, so quite how that happens. How, if I have an RPAS, there I am flying. How does your system tell me about what's coming, and what do I see? Is it integrated with my DJI apps? How does it work?
Yeah. So today we have done a web page. It's called involi.live, where basically you see the air traffic over a map. Now for a following BVLOS flights, what is going to happen soon, we are also implementing the link so that we can see the drone that is going to do the BVLOS flight directly into the platform. But the idea would be that in the future, all our data will be directly integrated into the drone controller, so that you can have really where you are using on your screen, where you're seeing your drone, where it is in the map, you can see also the air traffic. I mean, this was my vision from day zero when I was flying SenseFly drones over emotion, and I was mad at the fact that I can't see the helicopter flying close to my drone, and I cannot see it on the map. It's so logic that you want to have the position there and make all the things so easy. So that's where we want to go.
Well, we can, yeah. So how you'll pull that? So you won't attach anything different to the RPAS. You'd pull in the data stream, the Mavlink stream, DJI stream from the RPAS, and then you'd pull that into your system.
Exactly.
Would you rebroadcast that so other aircraft and other users nearby can use it? Because people are straight away going to say, well, let's just, if we all fit pings, if we all fit ADS-B, everything's going to be great. And I must admit, I'm not a fan of that. How will you let manned aviation know that the aircraft are there?
Okay, so here there are multiple questions. I will start with the last one. No problem, don't worry. In my opinion, drones should be invisible to air traffic. Like they shouldn't exist anymore. I talked with several pilots, helicopter pilots, etc. They told me, when I'm landing, I don't want to be stressed with another alarm that told me there is a drone incoming from the side. It should be on the drone side to deconflict at any time the thing with the helicopter or with the manned air traffic. So that's the first thing. The other question I just forgot, but anyway, I think that this kind of reply to all the concepts that we have.
Yes, very good. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Well, I was speaking to the zipline guys again in Tanzania. Where do I want to take this? I want to take this. That I was very impressed that those zips, they can have 5 in the air at once. And when they return, they completely by themselves decide who's got the most battery or the least battery, who's going in first, and they set up their whole approaches. 5 aircraft can set up the approaches to the single landing pad by themselves without any other human intervention. And I thought that was pretty cool and very much a sign of things to come. And we sort of have to adapt our thinking to 10 years out rather than what we're doing right now, I think. And perhaps you're beginning to build something that's going to be part of that in 10 years time system. I don't know. Is that too hairy-fairy to you other gentlemen?
I think the big thing's going to be critical mass. Whoever gets there first and establishes critical mass will own the market, because it is something that we need consistency across a wide area. You don't want to have to use this service in this area and another service in another area. So I think the big problem that I can see with this setup is it's obviously being designed and run by engineers rather than marketing people. And you can build the best mousetrap in the world, but if you don't have the right person selling it, you won't make any money. I think there needs to be someone in there with a commercial vision beyond the engineering vision to make sure that it does achieve what it set out to achieve. Because despite the technical merits, you're going to have someone out there plugging it, making it the dominant system, making it the critical mass system. Otherwise, it'll be an also-ran, and it'll probably be a vastly inferior system will make it and become the standard because it's simply been pushed harder and pushed better by people with better marketing skills.
Sorry, Manu, we're not very nice here.
At least he has the advantages of the not over promising and under delivering.
Yeah, well, that's why it's here.
Actually, these days that puts him at a disadvantage these days, doesn't it? When compared to the competition.
Yeah, that and the blockchain and the artificial intelligence and what else?
yeah, we gotta have some it can't possibly work if it doesn't have artificial intelligence. It cannot work. Never work. No, well, that's what impressed me. They came, they put the gear up, it worked. Bing bong, dish dosh, beautiful. that's what I
said. It's being run by engineers, not by marketing people. And I'm an engineer. I'm a guy that likes to build stuff, and I love the purity that you get when you do that. But I live in the commercial world, the real world, where the people make decisions based on bullet points on brochures and what it can promise. And you have to sell. You can't use a passive sell. You got to have an active sell. You got to convince the decision makers that your system is best, because they're stupid. They don't know. They can't tell from the technology. They just want to hear someone in a smart suit come and tell them, come out to dinner with me and I'll sell you the system. Everything will be fine. That's what they're looking for. That's the way the world works these days. It's all down to people in smart suits selling stuff. Engineers, they do the hard work in the back room, but they seldom get the respect that they deserve. And as I say, if you've got to sell it, it has to be sold.
We'll do that at a certain point. Before, we need to have something sellable and understandable by people. I have to say, we talk a lot with investors to have money to run our company, etc. And most of the time, the disaster is that some people really don't know that there is a drone business and drone market. And wow, drone operators, what is this thing? Really? Today we're already flying drones? So several times before explaining my technology, I have to explain a lot of other technologies and their market to arrive to ours. So at a certain point, I said, okay, let's develop the technology, talk with people that need to use it, and then let's see. But I agree with you. We have to sell it at a certain point. I
think your salesman's in the comments. Osby Drone says, so manage decision making and blockchain for trust network. See, that's just he's there. I think he's applying AI. Not so. He's right thing. Well, that is the annoying thing, isn't it? There's so much bull dust around this whole industry and to cut through it and see people that are actually doing the job it's very hard sometimes, and you're not kind of selling. And again, this is going to sound rude, man, but you're not selling a super big, sexy thing. It's not a huge machine with loads of rotating blades carrying a heavy camera that looks wow. It's just like but that's like my Flight Radar 24 app. I can see aircraft on there, so why do I need this? But you're trying to sell a key sort of safety part of the picture, and that's just not sexy.
So Manu, just let me try to understand your system a little better. So if you go to a country, the best way to have your system installed is to get an agreement with a mobile operator, because you'll then go to every tower, or at least a selection of towers, because if you go to every tower, you're out of business very soon. Connect your gadgets on the tower, right?
Yes, exactly. That's it.
Okay, so let's say in a country like Switzerland, you'll have what, 100,000 gadgets installed to cover up Switzerland?
No, actually, we say a couple of hundred. Actually.
Yeah, so you have more range than the 3G, 4G coverage of each cell tower, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Otherwise, your investors wouldn't like you.
No, nobody will, exactly. So the thing is, for telecommunication company, what we do is very similar in terms of installation effort to the LoRa network. So everything which is, this LoRa device which are coming out, it's a very similar business case for them in terms of installation. So they understood very quickly that is not hugely it's not a huge effort in that sense for installation.
But then that gives you pretty much guaranteed power and an internet connection right there, and as we've said before, a high site to give it good range.
Yeah.
And then, but aren't telcos sort of lining up and very keen as the 5G world evolves to get a little bit of the drone pie, and some UTMs are cozying up very nicely to them because they want that to be the method of identification, electronic ID for our pads. I mean, are you putting yourself into that picture?
So no, absolutely. That's not something that we want to do. The idea would be there are several companies like Avionics, for example, that they do this Ping 1090 device that goes on the drones. Flarm that does the same thing. We just want to detect all of them. That's it. So same thing for the airplanes, for any technology, identification technology. If there is a signal in the sky, we want to get it. That's it.
So what is the height range of your receiver? For instance, if a drone is flying at, say, outside the law at 1,000 feet, will your system be able to see it and report it?
So the idea is that another thing that we don't do is counter drone. So this is the business of the drone, for example, and other hundreds of companies doing this. We don't do this. We just take care of cooperative air traffic and cooperative drones. So if the drone is equipped with a avionics device, we will see it. But if it has no equipment at all, we won't see it.
Okay. But even so, yeah, and you just report what the ping ping emitter is doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you will have ADSB messages with the GPS position of the drone, and you will see it on the map. So one interesting feature that our system can have is also using multilateration to validate if something is really there. And this is really cool, actually. So even if an ADSB device at a certain point starts to transmit music instead of GPS position, we could calculate where the airplane is for real. And that's cool as well.
Oswald Jones mentioning in the comments, sorry, Louis, in Australia, you need a lawful intercept warrant to do what you're proposing, sniffing on all those frequencies. But I don't, it's a different sort of signal. You're not sniffing for the signal. It's a packet of data that's being well sent. Yeah, I'm not putting this.
It's broadcast. Yeah,
it's broadcast. Yeah, it's broadcast. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not. You're not detecting that, and that's what those de-drone systems and all that sort of things do. And that is a very, very grey area. That actually, exactly what they are allowed to do, and who is allowed to shoot down the drone if there is such a button on the device. It's a very, very grey area, and I'm sure. I think I'll put a round of beers down, just between us and the one dear viewer that's here, that one of the first big incidents, or there'll be a shoot down of an RPAS into a playground full of children. Save the children. There'll be an unlawful shoot down somewhere, and I bet that'll be one of the first drone incidences. Got it. Not looking at the existing C2 links, just ADSB, FLARM, Mode S, Charlie and Alpha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so standard aircraft broadcast stuff. And what do you reckon, Bruce? Somebody's shoot down a drone?
Sorry, just a question. Sorry, Bruce. Just let me interrupt. So, if we are receiving the ADSB broadcasts, the other applications for commercial airplanes will also see it, like Flight 24 and Flight Radar and all that. So, but not, but you filter out the drones, right? How do you distinguish between a plane flying below 400 feet, for instance, an helicopter flying below, or is it everything that is within that, or you don't filter out for the type of vehicle?
It's actually quite easy to separate who is flying by simply looking at the ADSB message that you are sending. There is one part of the code which say what is supposed to be what, and then there are other companies that create databases of ICAO number corresponding to the aircraft, etc. So there are a little bit the two solutions to understand what is the thing that is flying.
But you filter and only report the drones, or you just present everything within that ceiling?
The idea would be to present everything that is emitting. Yes.
Okay.
And across the multiple ways of doing it. And the mode S, that's where the other modes, the older transponders that aircraft have, that's where this idea that everyone's beginning to have, that we'll all just get a ping and everything will be all right. It's where it doesn't work, because you won't see that traffic. You need multiple receivers. You can't just put a ping in your drone and expect to see everything. It just doesn't work like that. But I don't know why that's lacking. But you can do, as we've done here, you can take multiple receivers, chuck it into a server, and then take that feed and put it into Mission Planner and have all those aircraft. So we have aircraft in the 500-kilometer line or corridor will appear in Mission Planner. But where we then have problems is you can get some false signals and all sorts of shadowing and all sorts of things and timing problems. And I'm not standing up the sort of clever gear that's needed to check and verify those signals, and that's what I would hope Manu's doing. So that's his advantage. And if you just pull feeds from FlightAware or something like that, you can actually pay to opt out of FlightAware and Flight Radar 24. At about $150 US, all my jets I opt out, all the Gulfstream, everything. You won't see my jets on Flight Radar 24, but that's what people do. So there's filtered out traffic in there as well that people are paid to opt out. So you're not seeing a complete air picture, and military aircraft as well won't be there.
For me, this particular one that you are mentioning, so the military or the helicopter which are doing search and rescue, that they don't want to be seen here in Switzerland, for example, I think that we will shadow their position, but we will kind of show a circle on the map telling you that something is coming your way and you're not supposed to be there, without telling you what exactly is, so that we can keep the anonymity of those that even for security reason don't say that they are there.
Well, yes. Well, it's throwing up all the interesting questions, isn't it? Of if we're going to share a sky, how exactly are we going to do it? You can't have only have half of the aircraft there.
I mean, the thing is, if you're flying an airplane VFR and the military aircraft is coming in your way, you're going to see it with your eyes, right? So the idea would be for us, we want to give you this point of view, but from the ground. So, okay, we just shade it a little bit that is an army aircraft, but the idea is you need to see that there is something incoming, otherwise you cannot react.
It's a big thorny, it's a very interesting subject, and I think because it's a lack of, because it's not super sexy, it's going to be very hard to sell, and that's perhaps why, as an industry, we're not thinking about it and getting behind it. Again, by having a chain of receivers you see over the hill. Another reason I don't like having just a device and avoidance on a device on the aircraft is if two aircraft are coming. Switzerland's a fantastic example. Deep valley, you're not going to see each other till you arrive around a corner in a deep valley. So you've got a lot less time to do the deconfliction. If you have a chain of receivers, you can think about that deconfliction a few minutes in advance. And that's where I was sort of going with what the zipline guys are doing. Those aircraft are talking as they're coming back, and they're routing themselves and sorting themselves out in good time to land. Say up to five returning at once. That impressed me no end. Anyway, I've ranted. I think we should thank Manu, and I should throw the floor open to see if anyone else has seen anything else that's caught their eye this week.
So we have about 1 week left for the biggest announcement of the year, at least that's what
Christmas.
No, come on. Come on, Gary. Just set up your clock. The DJI announcement on the 28th.
Oh, yes. Oh, what's it going to be? Some sort of new bag, or some sort of propellers, or
a battery that does not crash?
Yes. Refunds for all. Refunds for operators in Australia and the UK.
So what's your thoughts on that, Gary?
I'm
putting you on a tight spot because you already know what it is.
Well, I'm not sure I do. Well, what should I say? I'll say that I've heard lots of rumours of fixed-wing aircraft are kicking about again. Lots of rumours of different versions of Mavics. Lots. What do you think it is, Louis?
I don't know. Just waiting to hear from an industry insider like you, Gary. Just because I won't even dare asking Bruce, because he's going to tell me that he's one of those jets at Tokoroa, or a ultralight plane from Tokoroa, but made by DJI.
A lot of people are throwing out the fixed wing thing again. And in fact, the VTOL thing is what they're going for. But I'm not sure DJI's main user base will be able to fly something that doesn't hold still in the hover when you let go of the sticks. And I think that'll be the biggest. That'll be kind of one of the biggest sort of blocks to them going in. I don't know. What do you think, Bruce?
You've seen the Manu's neighbors of Winkler, and they have something that flies on overs.
It does. I don't know what it. I should have asked them to do that. I don't know what it does if you just let go of the sticks, but it's completely autonomous. So it's set and forget, really. It flew flipping well, actually, in the wind. I was amazed.
If it was autonomous, they don't have to hold the sticks.
True. Yes, that's true. But then you've got to have prepared your flight plan a little bit, and aren't most 99% of Spark and whatever users, aren't they going and flying ad hoc and going and looking at a waterfall or whatever, and they haven't got time to think about that sort of thing.
Yeah, but Bruce has a good opinion on that, on what it is to be presented.
I have no inside information, but if I was DJI, I'd be releasing a sub 250 gram drone, so that you could say, buy our drones, you don't need to register, you can do things safely. And then they can say to the regulators, look, we've got a safer option for people, and we want to, and so there you go. It gets some Curry's favor with the regulators. It makes the whole place safer, and we don't care if you're flying a 250 gram up the trouser leg of a security guard at an airport, because it's not going to hurt him. And that's what I'd do. Big market for sub 250 if they can put the Mavic Air functionality into that, if they can.
And Nicola is also waiting anxiously to tell us his insight on the newest announcement of DJI. He even goes further away to go for the very beyond visual line of sight. Come on, Nicola.
Did you say RPGA, Louis? Rock propelled grenade or something?
Oh, you demonetized the video again. I had the type.
They're calling it the Aloha Akbar.
Go on, Nicola. You can go this time.
Yeah. All right. I'm not sure what about DJI in long range something.
Well,
yeah,
we're not sure.
They're doing some competition to you. They're announcing products that fly further and further away. So you might have a competitor from Shenzhen.
In products, you mean they are finally going to release a plane?
Well,
that's what Gary was saying. It was not me this time. It was Gary.
There's lots and lots of rumors that that's the case. But what's the tagline in the advert? Make the bigger world a bigger place, or something like that, isn't it? Something like that. But of course,
okay, so what's the consensus here? It's a plane with an HD video link or something?
I think it's a new Osmo, something like that. But what's going mad?
If you think about it, a tiny drone does make the world a bigger place, relatively speaking.
And it would depend how close you are to it as well. Lots of people are jumping up and down and saying it's the Phantom 5. I will say this: I think the Phantom line's dead. I think they've killed it. But
not really.
Not really.
No.
I'm with Nicola on this one.
And I'll tell you why. I think you say that because of the Mavic Pro. Mavic 2 Pro, whatever. No, not even that. See, the problem with that Hasselblad camera is that 28 millimeter lens on it, because that pretty much ruins the whole field of view thing. 24 millimeters is, or 24 millimeters is pretty much perfect, and that's what the Phantom has. And if you want to get 28 millimeters, you just zoom in on that recording. But you can't make a 28 millimeter recording into a 24 millimeter recording. See?
See, I told you so.
Yeah.
See. That's
And
what I
that's
said.
why the Phantom line is not going away, because if you really know what you want and what you're doing, and you're not, carried away by all the hype, oh, it's the latest. Oh my God, it's Hasselblad. Yeah, that's bullshit. You've lost 4 millimeters in field of view because it's a Hasselblad, and for no good reason other than keeping the Phantom line there.
Yeah, DJI taxi drone. Well, yeah, I've wondered why they've not. Also tomorrow is the launch of that. We had him on, didn't we? How rude! I can't remember the name of the Avery project, the Urban Air Mobility project.
Avery. The labels.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's a new Christmas range. Comes out tomorrow in time for Christmas. And of course, it's Montgolfier Day tomorrow. The anniversary of the first flight air, which was a balloon in 1783, however many years ago that was. So that's also tomorrow. So Rybat saying taxi drone. Yes, that would be interesting. They must have a very good reason for not jumping onto that urban air mobility thing. If DJI aren't jumping there, they've got some very, very good reasoning indeed. And in fact, the man from SenseFly, Manu's old boss, I've got a video on the channel of him talking again in Tanzania. But he was in some ways said, be very careful. If you want to start a delivery drone business, there's not as much money in it as you think there might be. And I thought that was perhaps the most compelling talk of the whole one there, even though it wasn't what the audience wanted to hear. I thought it was
Come on, who has the volume to start? He is absolutely right. I haven't seen the entire video yet because you guys just do too many videos. Sorry, not enough time to see too many videos. But I only saw the headline. And who else besides, I don't know, Amazon has the goal and the funds to support such an initiative? It's not that easy.
But Amazon haven't done anything. They're a really bad example. They haven't done anything.
Yeah,
they haven't done anything. They've just got all the.
But they have the money.
They do have the money. Yeah,
they have the money and they have the motivation. And they for once they've been quiet for too long.
If there's no, here's my prediction: if there's no Christmas advert featuring Jeremy Clarkson this year delivering something from an Amazon delivery drone, then the Amazon delivery drone project is over. It's finished. They've canned that. If there's no Christmas advert, there's been a Christmas advert every year. There's no Christmas advert this year. They've canned it.
But Clarkson hasn't been fired from Amazon now.
No. He's been doing the adverts, trainers, and this and that and the other, and how good life's going to be.
But for instance, the things that they've been doing in Switzerland between small packages between hospitals and all that it's just a tiny business of delivery. So it's very hard to become profitable in, let's say, 1, 2 years, 3 years time. So it has to be someone that ships a lot of packages to make it profitable within a reasonable time frame.
Or the profit motive changes, doesn't it? If you're saving a life, that's different to profit, and that's that's where it can be useful.
Come on, what's the difference between having a drone carrying? I don't know. It cannot carry a big load. Can carry I don't know, some drug to be injected or something. But then motorbike courier can also do it almost as efficiently.
Well, then you must watch this video, because that's exactly the point he makes. That it's the actual operating costs to do the thing. But I mean, the motorbike's going to struggle unless you're going really quickly across the lake. I mean, you could do it, but you've really got to get a run at it before you hit the water.
Come on, if you're going to put an hospital in the middle of the lake, come on, Gary.
Well, people yeah, all right then. And I was by drone. Good evening to Adam. Anyone seen the shark fishing drone video? I haven't seen that shark fishing drone video. And then Osby Drone is making a very, very good point. Been loads of noise complaints in Canberra about the Project Wing deliveries, loads and loads and loads, and there is an action group stood up to get the whole thing stopped. The residents don't like it, and it is a good old, they're spying on us, there's no cameras, and some people are saying it's great to get a burrito in 10 minutes because of this, and lots of other people are saying you're very selfish, your burrito just made a hell of a noise coming over my house.
Come on, you get don't these guys get Uber Eats? Because the Uber Eats, you can also order a burrito and get it in 15 minutes. And there's a guy in the motorcycle that comes up and delivers the burrito.
Yeah, well, Mick Malloy says he scares kangaroos. I don't know how you do that, Mick. Good day to you, mate. But that, something like that, he says in the comments. Anyway, yes, but there's a point, isn't there, where those deliveries are pointless at the scale of burritos and stuff like that.
I'll tell you an example. A company here in Portugal did a huge fuss, a huge marketing effort of advertising their drone delivery system, and they called all the TV networks and all that, and the drone went to deliver the lunch to an elderly gentleman that lives 6 or 7 kilometers away from the institution that supplies him with his lunch. That's okay for marketing purposes, but too little.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, but in Africa where there's a lack of infrastructure, and New Zealand just the same, third world countries like ours.
Yeah, I saw that guy that doesn't want to come to the show. I forced to D. There's no one there, so he has to go and fly over the sea. Poor guy.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So actually, where's the wardrobe? Where's the Lion, the Witch, and the wardrobe? We've not seen that.
He's gone very quiet on that, hasn't he? I don't know whether he's had a clothing accident or something and not telling us, but he's going to bring it in to take her out to fly it anyway. But when it happens, you'll see it first on XJet.
Because I would have thought one of those turbines, or 2 or 3 of those turbines, might do the job.
Yeah, pressure close at the same time. Had a bit of water injection. Oh, steam job, beauty.
Okay, we'll move it to the laundrette, we should call it. Yeah, no. Ian Gates, I think the purpose-built delivery drones will be the only ones making money. I think hospitals, emergency response, really high-end products. Yeah, that I can't see that outside of that. I thought the zipline thing was absolute madness for a lot of time, but I have to admit they've saved lives. And that's
but
the
they do how many kilometers, and it's on
about 70.
Ground. Yeah, it's on open grounds. There I see the purpose, and they have a respectable payload, right?
Yeah, they do.
The payload has to be carefully packaged, and so that nothing weird happens to the payload on delivery. Sorry. So
no, it's only dropped 30 meters. The parachute's 30 meters it launches at. But they did a couple of, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, but they did clever things like putting the GPS for the flight controller is built in. The GPS is built into the battery unit. The thing lands, the battery unit gets put on the wall charger, so the GPS stays live all the time. So they can pull any battery off the rack when they assemble the aircraft, and it's got a lock and it's ready to go, which is quite a smart idea. It was full of details like that. I thought, oh, that's all very, very, very impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's the pieces that little details that each company comes up and gets well done, that it makes the entire industry advance. Because I'm sure someone will seen that and heard you saying that trade secret of the battery on the GPS on the battery, and tomorrow if you go to Good Luck Buy or GearBest, you'll see lots of batteries with GPSs. You heard it here first, guys.
How long did you? Where did you have to go to? GearBest, did you say? Yeah. But it's
with the added advantage that you'll never lose your battery because you'll always know where it is.
You'll always know where it is. That's right. Yeah. But and the again, I said that, and the little QR codes on the tail, that when you put your camera on the smartphone app, it pops up a little cube, and then it runs through its servo testing, and then the you can see if the servo's failing, and it was all that little stuff which was born of and that's the difference. It's born of experience, isn't it? There's a Mark II version that they've plainly been doing day-to-day operations, and they've had to learn a load of stuff. Zipline payload is priceless, unlike yeah. Oh, Osprey drone's on fire. That's the line. Is priceless, unlike a burrito. Yeah, that's exactly right. And Rwanda, you also have to remember, Rwanda is a pretty tiny country, so you can, for 2 or 3 bases, you can cover the entire country. When you scale it out a bit to larger countries, maybe it all was a little bit harder. But I was super impressed with that. Blood delivery, yeah, that's it, mate. Blood deliveries in Africa. So right, 6 minutes past. So.
And the other event of the week,
yes,
is the competition by Lockheed Martin for the fully autonomous drone racing in 2019. Wow, that's a biggie. That's a biggie.
Well, they actually announced that. That's what I hate. I hate putting in the press releases first, like 2 months before everybody else. Nobody else picks it up, and then it becomes a big thing this week. They announced that a couple of months ago, and yeah,
yeah.
Why would a military company want to be racing FPV drones?
Come on, they do. They do something else besides military. That's not the point. The point is, if you and I've gone and read the rules, because you can have closed source solutions and not telling them Lockheed Martin. I believe they're truly pushing up the boundaries of what is possible and seeing what is being done in this field, because I really believe that fully autonomous at the level that the regulations say, I only see one candidate there that can have the capacity to do it, but perhaps not beating the human pilot, which is the final challenge. And you know who they are.
Because Lockheed Martin's doing so well with the F-35, eh?
Oh yeah! Oh,
come on,
wonderful!
Let's not go that route.
Wonderful thing, wonderful. I've got a badge somewhere, and I've got a couple of memory sticks from them. Where are they? On my desk, like Bruce's. Yes, at Farnborough, they always come with a lot of swag to the F-35 people, so that's all right.
Funny thing about that is, I think only the RC versions of that F-35 are the ones that are actually flying.
Yeah, that's sort of
speaking from experience.
And they're the only ones that need to be registered with the FAA too, the models.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Well, I somebody got a bit. You know, my favourite place in the world, LinkedIn. Somebody got a little bit annoyed with me because somebody did post a shot of a load of F-35s in a runway, and I said, "Yeah, but how many of those were serviceable?" And they didn't like that. So it's just get very off with me, people there. I don't know why.
No, let's hear it from Bruce. Bruce, are you going to run for the fully autonomous competition?
But what's the point? It's it's actually doing it yourself is the thing. It's like these people, so many people now fly models with flight controllers, and all they do is, there's a guy comes out to our flying field, he gets his model out, puts it on the runway, gets his smartphone out, spends half an hour making it go beep bop and the ailerons flick, and then pushes a button, it takes off, flies around, lands again, and he puts it back in his car. well, what happened to flying?
That's what the old people do.
Come on, that's why you have simulators. Then you plan all the flight at home on the simulator, and then you go to the field to see if it did. Come on, we have the perfect example right here. The guy with the glasses and headphones. That's the guy that spends.
I've told you once, I've told you twice. Yeah.
Yeah, simulator is really cool. Come on, I mean, the first time, the only time I buy an RC airplane, I crashed it literally 3 seconds after, like 1, 2, 3, crashed. At least with the simulator, I can save money and have fun,
Yeah, no, they definitely got their place. I think. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe Bruce. I don't know. But Bruce, have you got an opinion on that? You've never really.
Yeah, no, flight simulators have changed the hobby, because it used to be that when people were learning, they'd come out and you'd have to be on a buddy box and taking control every 5 seconds till they got things sorted. And even then, they would take so long to learn about orientation when you're flying towards yourself and so forth. It was a really long, drawn-out procedure. These days, people come out, they've spent hours on the flight simulator, and really all you're doing is just watching them for the first flight. They can fly straight away. It's great. It saves so much money in broken planes. And yeah, it's a very positive thing.
Yeah, I think so. Rybat's saying Lockheed hacked off all the Kestrel engineers in the past 10 years. You've got to been around a while to know what the Kestrel part of all that was. But yes, I know what you're talking about.
Didn't they go on to build the Rolls-Royce Trent?
They did. That's exactly right. Yes, it's any other Central England named river. All right. Did anyone else have anything else before we go?
Yes.
Go ahead.
In Sweden, don't start a drone startup in Sweden.
Oh.
Because I saw that a Stockholm-based drone entrepreneur has been ordered to leave Sweden within a month after the immigration agency confirmed its decision to deny him a work visa extension because he went several months without a salary. This guy's done a startup. He's related to the KTH Royal Institute of Technology, working at their sort of startup hub. And as you do when you don't have much money, he basically went without pay for a few months while he was waiting for 3.1 million krona, which is about 350,000 US dollars, of funding from a Japanese drone company called Terra Drone, which he got the funding, but Sweden's kicking him out because he wasn't paying himself. How many people when they start a business don't pay themselves? It's quite standard thing around here where capital is fairly hard to come by. But in Sweden, if you don't pay yourself, I guess it's because they're so sort of social, left-wing socialist, you're being mean to yourself, and we won't have that, so you're out the door. My goodness, they're not going to make much ground, are they?
He wouldn't have, if he was an overseas type person, he wouldn't have had the funds to prove that he could stay in the country.
Yeah, well,
they didn't kick a Swede out, did they?
Yeah. What is the name of the company, Bruce?
The company, what do you call himself? I don't know if they tell us who the company is.
Was it an Irish fellow by any chance?
No, he was from Dubai, a Dubai national. Yeah,
okay.
So it's very strange. If you look on Google search for drone in the news, it came up today. So I just thought it was kind of strange, especially considering he's actually secured $340,000 US funding.
Yeah, well, that's good old-fashioned immigration rules and regulations, isn't it, and all that sort of a thing. Different,
and now immigration as well. I mean, altogether, it's a mess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not going to help things along, is it? And what was his
Swedish
product?
girls are very pretty.
Where are you going to take this now? Whatever you're going to do, Bruce. I'd really rather you didn't do whatever.
Come on, Bruce. Do you want to go on and be a partner of that guy from the guy that is exiled on the Colombian
Julian Assange?
Yes. Do you want to be buddy with him?
But the girls in ABBA were nice.
But he's from New Zealand. That's the same as being in exile.
He's Australian. He's Australian.
No,
you too. You too.
You're also Australian, yeah, and you're in New Zealand. So there you are. It's just the same. It's just the same sort of punishment as being in the Bolivian embassy, whatever it is, wherever he is.
Ecuadorian,
that's it. I saw something. I did see a New Zealand story this week, but I can't remember what it was. It'll come back to me when I'm gone. All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Manu from Involi, thank you. Sorry we gave you such a hard time. I look forward to following with interest what Mick Malloy, take that back. Yeah. No, you're far enough away. You can't hit me from here, Mick. Or maybe, I don't know. Yeah, no, thanks very much, everybody. And dear viewers, thank you very much. So the dear old YouTube's opened up the social bits to the channel now, so you can be abusive to us in social ways now, which I think is good. And the people have spoken and said they want more interviews, so we'll try and do more interviews with people and standalone sort of things. And other than that, tomorrow I will try and do a live cast when the Manchester thing is going along. I'm following along on see what I can see on, funnily enough, ADS-B traffic using 360 radar in the UK. And yeah, we'll wish them well tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. So it should be about, I think, about 1300, 1400 UK lunchtime. So I bid you all farewell. Thank you very much. See you next week. Cheers, everyone. Have a safe weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.